basic question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I agree with everything that you said. Let me just say this. I know that some of my colleagues, the Republicans, proposed cuts to your budget, and I'd like to ask you, Chair Khan, what would be the effect of nearly a 9% cut in the budget of the Federal Trade Commission?
Thanks, Congresswoman. I mean, it would be extraordinarily dire. As Commissioner Slaughter laid out, we would be in the very difficult position of most likely having to furlough staff. We would undoubtedly be further shrinking the size of the FTC. And as you know, we are actually 400 people smaller today than we were in the early 1980s, even though the economy has grown 16 times over. And so that would mean that our work across the board would be diminished. And so we're talking about work taking on fraud and scams, including those that are targeted at elderly Americans, as we just heard, at veterans, at underserved communities. It would mean we wouldn't be able to take on made in USA fraud when companies say their products are made in America, but actually they're made elsewhere. It would mean we wouldn't be able to go after as much companies that through law breaking are inflating costs for Americans across the board, be it their healthcare costs, be it how much they're paying for groceries. It would mean that our work protecting Americans from data abuse would suffer. And so across the board, we would be able to do less of the fantastic work that our staff have been doing, and Americans would be more exposed to corporate law breaking. And so, you know, the prospect here is quite dire, and so I really hope that Congress can instead continue to support the FTC's mission and fully resource us.
Thank you for that, and I agree that we need to fight for that. As I mentioned earlier, the chairman and I have been working on some surprise fees on the Ticket Act. But what are you doing? Because this is certainly only one example of what happens with surprise fees. So what is the FTC doing on that?
So we are pursuing action against unfair or deceptive fees, both through our law enforcement work as well as through rulemaking. Just the other month, we pursued a enforcement action against a company that had basically included these deceptive early termination fees. And so when people were signing up for subscriptions, they were not being told clearly that trying to exit the subscription would actually require paying hundreds of dollars. And so we're going to continue to do that enforcement work. We've also proposed a rule that would prohibit junk fees and basically require companies to upfront include in the price all of the mandatory charges rather than saddle people with surprise fees after they're already captive to the process. And so we hear time and time again just what a big pain point this is. That rulemaking is ongoing, but we've already gotten 60,000 comments.
Thank you. Let me ask one more question. In 2001, the Supreme Court said that the FTC did not have to give money back to consumers, which had been in place. And I am just wondering if I could go one by one, from left to right, if you could tell me if you think that there should be a change in, what is the name of it?
13B.
13B, that would allow money to go to consumers. Could I start with you?
Thank you, Madam Ranking Member. Yes, I think AMG was correct, but I think it is super important that Congress restore the authority we thought we had under 13B as soon as possible.
Agree that restoring this authority would be critical for our ability to protect consumers.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank you. And with that, I'm going to yield back.